Hello, and today we are Tea Room Secrets, Tina Jessen here. And today we are going to be looking at how to put your business plan together. And I know a few of you have been working on this, a few of you have yet to start, and maybe some of you have never had a business plan. But a business plan is a really good idea of getting all those thoughts that you have about your business and what you think it might look like onto a page and out of your head. And the great thing about putting a business plan down is the fact that it's not just to be written once, then put in a drawer and forgotten about, but it is a living document. So as you change your mind about things, as some things you try don't work out, or as some things that you never thought you'd try, you ended up doing, and you thought, wow, I'm going to do more of this, then they need to go into your business plan. And it's just, I say, a really good place to put everything out of your head and onto the page. It really helps you sleep better. And it also helps give you a little more perspective. So if you are a member of the Business Vault, you will have access to the business plan. I've got business plans in there from my previous tea room. I've also got a template and something that you can go in and edit. So let's just have a little bit of a think about what this business plan has in it and what kind of research you need to do to enable you to complete one. So first of all, we need to put together some kind of executive summary. That's always at the front of the business plan. And that gives you your business name. Don't spend too long with your business name. You can make your business name into whatever you want it to be once you start trading. So as long as it's not a negative name, it really doesn't matter. Don't spend too long on your business name. I find so many business owners spend days, weeks, months, years, and never get round to naming their business properly. Just pick something and run with it and make a start. But then you do need to give a little bit of an overview of your business. What you might find, though, is writing your overview and your executive summary after you've written all the detail down might be the best way of going on. At least that's one of the things that we used to do. When I worked in corporate, we always wrote the exec summary and the overviews after we'd put all the detail in, because you never know, some of the detail may change as you go through there. So it might be appropriate that you think about having a mission statement. What the purpose, what's the driving force behind you wanting to start this business? What's the authentic part of you that you're putting into your business? And really the why of your business, very important. Maybe the why is more important than the mission statement, but if you can distill your why down into a mission statement that's easy to remember and trips off the tongue easily, and is something that you can, when you're speaking to your team or to other interested parties about what your mission is, then that can be really helpful too. Also covering what kind of products and services you're going to be offering is going to be important. And this is where you need to start making some decisions, like, are you going to do all the baking? Are you going to do the baking, or are you going to bring in a baker? And that obviously will have a ripple effect on your cost base, which we come on to a little bit later on through the document as we fill it in. You might want to put in something like, when you first started your business, what have you tested so far? I'm a big believer in little steps to start off with. So it might be that you've kind of put your toe in the water and you've maybe tried a market, or you've done an afternoon tea at home, or you've done an afternoon tea for friends or for a family occasion, and you want to document some of the feedback or suggestions or ideas that came out as a result of doing that. And then, of course, there's the description of your business, how it's structured, who owns the business, how it's going to be managed. It might be that you're just on your own. It might be that you're partnering with maybe a daughter or a husband, preferably your own daughter or own husband, but you know what I'm saying. You need to kind of put in there who is going to take management control of that, and briefly profiles the team members that you have in mind, and who's basically going to be coming on board to help you run and manage that business. Location, that's going to be a big thing, especially if you haven't found a place yet. It might be that you're looking for specific criteria. Your criteria of the location goes down in there. If you haven't found your location yet, that helps keep you focused. It also helps you to identify what is a good location opposed to a bad one. Now, I looked at 20 different locations before I started my tea room, and it was invaluable. So once I'd identified what I was looking for in a business and what I was not looking for, which is also as important, when I came across it, it was like, oh my gosh, this is ticking literally all the boxes on my location criteria. If you have a location, then describe your location of your business, and include what kind of physical storefront it has, or if it's an online presence, or if you're doing both. And fill in as much information on the location as possible. Now we're going to move on to the market analysis. So target market is who you expect your target audience to be. Basically, who is your ideal customer? And we do have some training available in the Business Vault if you need more help on that. But you'd be surprised. Often, we might say if we're running a tea room, we're looking at a particular demographic or a social graphic of the types of people that you think will be your buyers, or even if you have started selling, maybe you've started selling teas at farmers markets, you've started to get some feedback and you are getting a feel for who your ideal customer is. And how are you going to target that market? Have you got various connections? Whereabouts in the community would you find them? Are you going to be going to historical properties or retirement homes or schools or historical properties? There's lots of different places that you can find your target market. Then looking at your industrial analysis, that's providing an overview on the industry, including current trends, key players in the marketplace, and potential opportunities that you might have uncovered. Keeping an eye on the trends in tea consumption is extremely useful as well. Just helps you to keep one step ahead of where things are going, and that you're not planning something in the future that is relevant now and might not be in 6 or 12 months' time. So have a look at that industrial analysis. And competitive analysis, identify who your competitors are and analyze their strengths and weaknesses, and explain how what you're going to be doing is actually different, because having some kind of USP in the marketplace is going to be really, really helpful. Although to have a competitor that's doing something similar to you does prove that there is market share to be had, but you do need to either be much better than them or offer things in a slightly different way to give you an edge in the marketplace. Then we come on to marketing and sales. What is your marketing strategy going to look like? Excuse me. So outline your plan for promoting and advertising your product, including online and offline strategies. And guess what? We have 20 ways of marketing your business as one of our freebies in the Business Vault. So make sure you brush up on that and pick out the ones that you feel are going to be relevant to your business. And it might be that you're not actually spending money on advertising, but you are working on partnerships instead, which in my experience has been much more cost effective. Time over money every time. Sales strategy. This is where you start to describe what your sales process is. So are you going to be selling only in a storefront? Are you going to be selling online? And how are those sales taken? Are you going to do invoicing? Are you going to be taking cash? And also have a look at your pricing strategy. And again, we've got a whole training around pricing strategy to make sure that you are pricing for profit from day one. And then looking at any sales partnerships, we partnered with a couple of stores that actually sold our teas, for example. So have a look at how you are going to sell your product and what those strategies might be. and what your distribution channels are. How are you going to explain what you do, and how you're going to reach those customers? Will you sell directly, use retailers, or some kind of online platform? Are you going to go to farmers markets, which is where I started, just in the shop? How are you going to reach those customers? Are you going to be getting email addresses? Are you going to be using social media? How are you going to do that? Let's see. And then, of course, we need to have a look at your product and service development. What is the life cycle? What does it look like? Detail where your product stands in its life cycle, and if there's any future plans or updates or expansions. It might be that you are, well, when we opened our tea room, we started off just doing afternoon tea, but then we evolved into serving lunches, which was a subset of an afternoon tea. And you might want to be thinking about, well, maybe in another year, I want to add something extra. Maybe I'm looking at adding more events, more themed events, and extending that product and service within your business. And then have a look at how you're going to do research and development. Where are you going to go to do your research? What time are you going to spend developing new recipes, for example, or new blends? And then let's move on to our operations plan. What is the process? How are we going to, how are we going to do things around here? And again, we have support within the Business Vault on how you can do that. But have a think about, operationally, how are you sourcing your product? What suppliers are you using? What manufacturing are you using? What packaging are you using? Where are you buying your tea from? How are you going to look at buying your suppliers in? What suppliers are you going to be using? How are you going to make sure you're managing your profit and always making sure you get the most cost-effective ingredients for your business? And then have a look at logistics and inventory. There is something that we have in the restaurant industry called a PARS value, and that is the amount of stock that you will never drop below, because if you do drop below that, you're going to get into trouble. You're not going to be able to serve a particular menu item the next day if you go below, say, a pound of butter. I don't know what that would be for you, but there will be that level that you don't want to drop below. You don't have too much stock. You want to have it just in time, but you don't want to run out either. And you then need to know that, oh, I'm down to my last, packet of tea or my last pack of butter. I need to go and buy more. So that is the kind of inventory management that you need to be thinking about so you don't run out of anything. Financial plan. This is where we put in all your startup costs. Look at the investment that is required to launch your business. Additional startup costs, if you have a physical location, are going to be all your equipment costs, or your kitchen equipment, or your tables and chairs, or your pots and pans and china and teacups, and all those things go into your startup costs. And then there'll be things like getting your website set up and your domain name and your branding and how you're going to promote. Maybe if you have got a storefront, there'll be promotional materials that you want to put, maybe signage, that sort of thing, all part of your startup cost. And then we move on to revenue streams. So once you are starting to bring in revenue, be very specific where you expect those revenue streams to come in from. And that's going to include things like making sure you've got your pricing right, your sales projections, and any other income sources that will come in to you. And from those things, then you can start to put together your budget and your financial projections. And it's based on the financial projections that you can see if the whole business is viable. And providing detailed budget, that means how much you're going to be spending on various things each month. You'll have fixed costs, you'll have variable costs. Your fixed costs will be things like your rent, your maybe your telephone, maybe what are the sort of fixed costs, things that don't change, your staff costs if you have a fixed number of people. And then you'll have your variable costs, which will depend on how much you sell and how much business you actually bring in. So it's a good idea to split your fixed costs from your variable costs. Something like your internet service provider fee, your monthly payment there will probably be a fixed cost, and your rent, as I already mentioned. So have a look at your budget, and then you'll be able to plan that out month by month over the first couple of years and see where your break-even point is. Don't be over ambitious on the number of sales. I remember my first plan that I did, I was looking at having 100 customers a day. You're not. It's not going to be that easy. I think I've only once had 100 customers in my tea room in a day. In 6-8 years of actually running that business. So don't go in with the most possible. Go in with something that's going to start small and gradually grow. Maybe 10% per year is a good percentage to go with. And then we're going to look at risk analysis. And we already mentioned the SWOT analysis when we were looking at our year in review. And I have a video about that. But the SWOT analysis basically summarizes our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats that are facing our business in the marketplace. And that is a very helpful exercise to go through, where you sometimes we overemphasize our strengths, but it's also very useful to make a note of those weaknesses so they don't come as a surprise. And then we can perhaps do some risk mitigation strategies, which is the next part, where we identify the potential risks and outline strategies that might help us to mitigate or at least respond to them in a more positive way. And then finally, you've got any supporting documents. These could be diagrams or floor plans, market research that you do. One of the things I did do before I opened was I actually stood outside the location and I spoke to people about, if I'm to open a tea room in this building, is that something that would interest you? And I got feedback from that, and that's really, really helpful. It might also include things like CVs or resumes of key team members, or it might even include things like menu prototypes, if you like, of the kind of things that you are going to be serving. And then the conclusion and your next steps is summarizing your business plan and outlining the next steps that you're going to take to implement them. So like I say, this isn't something that you write up once and hand to a bank manager. This is your business plan. It helps get all the thoughts out of your head and onto the page, helps you be more objective, and you can see actual statistics and actual facts that you are putting into your business plan, and it helps you to have a little bit of perspective. And it also helps you either get extremely scared, in which case the time's not right for you, or it helps you to get extremely confident. Well, it makes you confident enough to take the next step and to actually do it. So do the business plan, keep updating it as you find out more stuff and have more experience and test more things, and keep evolving it. And that way, it's going to give you the very best chance of succeeding in your business. I hope this has been helpful and not too much of a rush through. I will be including a template of a business plan with this video that will be available in the Business Vault. And I will see you next time. Bye for now. Bye.